What if I told you there's a way of automating your WordPress workflows without having to use Zapier and incurring increasing bills for more task usage? The plugin I'm going to show you today, it runs locally on WordPress, can replace Zapier for a one-time fee, saving you money in the long run. So the plugin I'm going to show you today is called Bitflows. It's by the same team that did Bitform, which I reviewed recently and found that to be excellent. And it's essentially an alternative to Zapier that works within your WordPress website. There's plugins to install and you'll have to activate your license. This can be used on multiple sites depending on the license you get, but I'll cover that later on. And this is the dashboard you get. So this is a test website I've been using to test out some ideas. You get a nice dashboard that shows task executions, the different flows that have been used, and a log of what's been working and what hasn't been working. So you can see I've had a few failed attempts at using this. So let's walk you through a quick demo. Down the side here, you've got all these different tools that are either actions or triggers. A popular one would be something like Contact Form 7. So that would allow you to take a contact as they've submitted the form and do something with it. I happen to have Bitforms installed on this test website because I was testing it the other day. So I'm going to start with Bitforms. I'm going to select the trigger. What's nice about this is each of these can have different integrations. So the Bitform one is just submit success, but if you went to Suite Dash, you can see you've got different elements. So when a subscription is created, do something, but we're going to stick with Bitforms, submit success. So we're going to have to select the form. So we'll just say the contact form, listen response. You then trigger whatever the action is. So in this case, I'm submitting a contact form. Once it's captured the response, you'll see it's captured it down here. You're now ready to move on. So we've got the basically dummy data, and that allows you to then build up the next step. You can select another app, or they do have a range of tools. So you can split this off and route it in different directions. You can add delays. There's all sorts. But in this case, I'm just going to do a very basic one. Let's go with Mailchimp. So I want to create a subscriber in my Mailchimp account. You have to create a connection. So I don't have a Mailchimp connection at the moment, so I'm going to have to add a new connection. And here it's telling us what we need to get. So we can find credentials on this link, and then there's the redirection URL. So I'm going to copy that. So I need to register an app, redirect URL that it provides, hit create. So now we've got the secrets key and the client ID. I can drop the client ID in and the secret, say connect. Now, I don't think you'll be able to see this, but I've basically just got to reconfirm my username and password and log in to make sure it's confirmed. And there we go. So I now have set up my Mailchimp connection. Just took a couple of minutes. You saw how easy that was. And then it's a case of selecting the action. So do I want to add a member to audience, add a tag, remove a tag? So I want to add, select the audience. So field mapping, email, we need to add in from the form entry, the email. So that's this one here. No address field, no double opt-in. Update subscriber, we do a test run. So the test has come back as failed, and if we scroll down, we get the output here. The reason is that they've rejected markettest.com because it looks fake or invalid. So that's on me because I just put in some test data, but what you can see here is the connection has worked. It has attempted to add it, but Mailchimp has prevented the fake email address being added. So that's a good thing, because if you're getting a load of people just spamming random email addresses, this will help filter out that rubbish. Even though it hasn't added it, that is a successful test. And that's it, that's very simple. So right now, if you fill out the form, you'll get added to a Mailchimp list. Of course, with all these different apps, this is very simple and basic. You've actually got loads of opportunities, and you can even add your own app. I've been experimenting with both Jog and Replic. To do this, you're going to need a little bit of information when you're creating an app. First, you give it a custom name, you give it a description, you can upload the logo. And then once it's done, you add modules. These are the actions that you can take. And so you give it a name, you would enable authorization, and I've already set that up with the API. And then it gets a little bit technical. This is where you'll need to get hold of the API documents for whatever the platform is. And there's really only two that you're going to use, which is post, which is send something, and get, which is go and grab something from the platform. So if you want to send a request, you would need a post request. You would have the URL in there. And let me just show you the one I've built for Jog. So in this case, I am going to create a video from talking avatar, and then I've said in the body, here's the script, and it's going to merge the script, and everything else is preset up with an avatar and a specific voice. There's a couple of use cases for using Jog. So in this instance, if I say Jog AI, create talking avatar video, and I want to choose that, and I need to select from here the script. So in this case, the script is what they're going to say, and so I'm going to pick the name. So the idea is that you can generate a video based on what people have sent you. So in this case, all it's going to do is generate a Jog talking avatar video that says, hi, person's name, thanks for reaching out, here's some advice for you, whatever it is you want. You hit test run, and then when we go to Jog, you can see these are all my tests that I'm trying out. You can see it's now generating that video based on that test.
Hi Mark, thanks for reaching out. Here is some advice for you.
So very quick and easy to then generate bulk videos based on what people type in. The next element that I've yet to consider is what to do with the videos. So after testing that on my test site, I've hopped over to a different website because the main use case I'm thinking of experimenting with is when I publish an article to a website, it will first use OpenAI, because you can use AI to turn the blog post into a 60-second script for a news report teleprompter, and then the post information is there. So it's going to hand the actual article to OpenAI, and it's going to use that to write a script. I can then pass that script, the actual script that the AI has written, over to Jog. It will wait a set amount of time, 5 minutes, for the video to be created. I can then get the video information, the project ID, and I can then separately also create a Facebook post. And then the next part, which I've not quite figured out yet, is how I can put all that together. So I've got post information, I've got a video, and can I then post that to a Facebook page? So that's where I'm at. One thing I'm looking at doing is possibly using N8N for that, because I've not been able to find, there's not a Facebook thing in here. And so I'm thinking, is there N8N or maybe Make have a very easy way of connecting into a Facebook page? And you can do that via webhooks. So each one of these tasks would normally cost you some sort of allowance on Make, Zapier, Pabbly, whatever. These would all cost you something. I'm doing all that on WordPress and it's worked fine. As you saw, I've got loads on Jog. But then I may need to hand over some stuff elsewhere. But that could just be because I'm not familiar with how to set up the Facebook integration yet. One thing I will say is they've got a very good support group. It's on Facebook, and you can see I've asked a load of questions and they've helped out with things like API. So this was me trying to work out how to get started with Jog, and they looked at the documentation and gave me the step-by-step approach that I needed to take. So very helpful support. I've been very pleased with that because this is complicated stuff. Now, if you've got a few websites that you want to use this on, you don't have to recreate it every time. You can go and export the flow and then import it into another site, and you'll just need to re-add your keys and authorizations, because you may want to use different keys for different websites. For example, with OpenAI, I like to generate a different key for each project so I can see how much I'm spending. For example, on this particular flow, is this costing me pennies? Is it running up to many dollars? I can only track that by using different API keys. Now's a great time to grab this because they currently have, at the time of recording, a special offer where you get up to 34% off. You don't have to go lifetime, you can go annual. It's a little bit cheaper if you buy annual, but of course you're then in the long run paying more because next year you have to pay again and again and again. Whereas if you pay a little bit more now, you'll get this for life. So what are you getting? Well, actually, unlike some platforms, it's the same for every single license. The only difference is the number of sites. So for $200, you can use this on a single site. Add on another $100, you get 5 sites, so on and so forth, up to a 100-site license. I'd like to thank the team behind Bitflows for not only sponsoring this video, but providing me with the license so I could actually test this out. You see that at each level, though, you get all features. So nothing's locked behind. You have to get the Plus Lifetime Plan or Developer Lifetime Plan. If you just got one site and you think this is going to be useful, grab the Starter Lifetime, and I'll put an affiliate link down below so you can go straight to this page. Now, if we compare that to something like Zapier, you can see very quickly why it makes sense to offload as many tasks as possible to your WordPress site. There is a free option where you get 100 tasks per month, but then if you start using this a lot, the price soon adds up. So you can see for 750 tasks, you're going to be paying, what's that, $240 odd a year, which is very similar price to the lifetime deal. And if we keep going up, $39, keep going up a bit more. So if you're a really heavy user, I'm only at the 10K here, and this is not even halfway up. So some people must be absolutely smashing through tasks. That's over $1,500 a year. Well, you could get the maximum plan on Bitflows for 100 different sites, and that's it. You wouldn't have to pay for any of this again. Now, as I say, sometimes it might be easier to offload the more complicated tasks to something like Zapier or Pabbly. But my point is that if you can do as many tasks as possible on WordPress, you go from doing 10K tasks, and you might be able to take that right down so that you're not paying anywhere near as much as you once were.